Welcome to a bittersweet episode of Transporter Room 3. This is Phil Scott. Thanks for beaming on down with me, sir. You're probably wondering why we're mourning on the eve of a movie we've been waiting 4 years for. Uh, um, Scott and I have seen Into Darkness. We've seen that movie and we're going to talk about
You
it.
can barely bring yourself to call it a movie, right?
Yeah, I wish I could be a bit more professional today, but I can't. Have my parents in town on top of still recovering a week later from seeing this movie. It's not terrible, but it's not good.
Yeah, yeah.
It
It's
is
your
I
parents are
strongly suggest if you don't want to listen to us, I don't know what your problem is, you're some kind of wrong person, but if you don't want to listen to us, uh, and you just want to read a review, read Devin Faraci's review on Badass Digest. He articulates uh, a lot of my feelings in a much more effective way than I can at the moment.
why? Because you're
Uh,
so emotional.
what?
Because you're so emotional.
Because like my brain is running through all the thoughts on like parallel tracks faster than I can break them down into coherent sentences. That it just comes out with me just going, mouth fart.
So it's sort of the opposite of when Data was trying to repair Lal, right? When his hands were moving so fast.
Right, his hands moving so fast.
This is First of all, your parents flew out to LA to see you specifically to go see this movie with you,
Yeah,
right?
shh.
So have you told them your feelings on it, or are you just gonna?
No, nope, nope,
Do they know you've seen it?
nope.
This is we're gonna talk full on spoilers here.
Yeah,
It's hard to talk about this movie without talking spoilers. So everyone, you stand warned if you haven't seen it yet.
and
Um,
don't. Yeah, so and don't. If someone says, if you go in there, doing that Phantom Menace thing where you're trying to convince yourself the movie's good, uh, don't do that.
yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You saw it before I did, and so I kind of, I was hearing sort of, positive things, and yet some real strong reservations regarding the script from you and from our pal Jordan Hoffman and from some other folks. So I kind of went in there with diminished expectations, hoping for the best, and
Expecting the worst.
kind of, yeah. And
I
so
also lowered my expectations.
yeah, because we were hearing stuff before we saw it. There were some people who did see it, and Trek fans, and there was some negative. I mean, it's generally being tracking positively. It's at 88% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And it's at 73 on Metacritic,
Okay,
which is
which
a
is
bit more accurate, supposedly, barometer than
yeah,
the tomato
right.
meter, which I refuse to acknowledge as a real thing.
So we're yeah, and now we're recording this on Wednesday morning. It opens in IMAX tonight. So more reviews are going to start to break in the next couple of days, which will we'll see where the number
Yeah.
ends up eventually. But so I went into it kind of with diminished expectations, as did you, I guess, and for the first half of it or so, I was kind of like chugging along,
Me
kind of
too.
enjoying it.
I
Because
was
it's got
feeling some of the things I feel when I watch a J.J. Abrams movie and when I was watching Trek 2009. Like, I love that match dissolve from uh, the volcano people
right.
to the Enterprise. I just love looking down on the Enterprise for some reason. That's one of my favorite views.
And it was it's a cool.
It's a,
I like that. I like the idea that they're actually kind of showing us. Well, look, this is what happens when you break the Prime Directive, right? Like
right, you get a cool shot out of it.
you get a cool shot, and you've altered the culture of these people probably as well.
Right.
Uh, so I'm actually working on my fan fiction about that world now. Uh, but
See, Scott gets into a little a little kerfuffle with the one pale faced dude, with the big black eyes, and they kind of form this buddy comedy. It's kind of like Midnight Run meets Zardoz,
Including the diapers.
especially the diapers.
So, but then the movie just, uh, it just gets dumb, and becomes needlessly derivative, I think, and all the stuff with the Star Trek Two homages.
Yeah,
Like I just don't understand why they needed to do that. I don't think and you and I have talked about this a lot already, but like these characters haven't earned this. I don't think they haven't earned this gravity, this sense of
no,
seriousness yet. That people are dying, and like they haven't been friends for 30 years. They just met basically, right? How much
yeah, I
time
think
has
they've known
passed?
each other for 6 months.
Yeah, and they kind of hated each other in the beginning. Um,
And
the
Khan, I'm sorry, but Benedict Cumberbatch, he's Khan. It's not a good kept secret. He's
right,
Khan.
right, yeah.
Uh,
Well,
he doesn't really test them. I feel in any way that they were tested by both Khan in the original series and in Wrath of Khan.
right.
Uh, I just, if you're going to introduce Khan, you are drawing parallels to one of the greatest sci-fi movies of the last 40 years.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I mean, why would you even do that to yourself?
If
You
you,
know?
I think the answer I would like to believe is you would do that because you have a way to work it into this new infrastructure, this new world in a way that's just as good or better. Those are the only reasons why you try to, hopefully, those are the only reasons why you're trying to re-engage something that's happened before, whether it be a remake, a reimagining, a reboot, whatever it is.
Right.
So
Yeah.
basically, do for Khan what you guys did for 2009 Trek. And I feel that that benchmark was completely missed.
Yeah. For sure.
And it's just that we'll get to the Khan stuff. Uh, Scott, how do you feel about like just moving through the movie like chronologically, like trying to
Sure.
why don't we set it up and then we'll get to our Khan reservations?
Okay. Sure.
So the movie opens with, for me, a non-starter. It's a little clumsy homage to the opening of Raiders, them running away from these volcanic people. Kirk has stolen a little scroll that they pray to get, presumably to get them away from the volcano, to keep them out of harm's way.
Yeah.
Uh, but if I didn't know better, I would say it's because he just liked it and took it because he's a little fucking dick.
Yeah.
Kirk. He's a little kid.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and it's already you're kind of when you think about the film kind of after the fact, so much of it doesn't add up, and even when you're watching it, so much of it doesn't add up, and it's like, was that necessary? Like, couldn't they have like this? Surely they Spock could have gotten into the volcano by some other means, without having to go send McCoy and Kirk down to the planet, and but to distract the natives. And so I mean, I guess what you're saying is it's because Kirk is being Kirk, and that's the
right.
reasoning behind that. But it leads to this bigger point, which is that Kirk isn't terribly likable in this movie, I don't think.
Yeah, it's the only Star Trek movie where I don't like Kirk. I didn't like parts of him in 2009. For some reason I just either their take on Kirk is off or my perception of who Kirk is so tethered to what's come before that I won't let this new Kirk play. I don't know what it is, you know. I just feel like their take on Kirk is off
Yeah.
because he's not a guy for me who walks by two girls at the academy and goes, "Hi, James Kirk." Like he doesn't shoot them a Don Draper fuck me eyes.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
exactly.
I just, at least, I don't know.
He and you know the lying on the report. I mean,
Yeah,
I understand that they're
that's a kicked off the planet offense right there.
yeah, like I understand that they're trying to establish that Kirk needs to learn a lesson in this movie,
But,
right?
but I thought he
Um,
already learned it.
well, that's the thing. It seems redundant. It seems like this is terrain we covered in the first movie, uh, and it's it's kind of like it's the kid. It starts to feel like the kid with the learning disability who can't learn the lesson. Like we've now spent two movies teaching this guy why he should sit in the center seat. Is this the best that Starfleet has, that we have to deal with this guy's bullshit?
Yeah, I mean,
Like
if we're looking at, I mean, they've said that they were looking at Dark Knight as a model. You know, Batman Begins ends on the note of escalation,
yeah,
and Batman just kind of like, I'll look into it with when he sees that Joker card, having no idea what that's going to entail. And then when Dark Knight comes around, Batman has to earn the suit. It's the consequences of putting on that suit, and what happens when someone puts on war paint in the form of the Joker. And
right.
I just the earning of the mantle slash consequences that were explored by being Batman in that movie. I just where are those with Kirk on the chair?
Yeah,
The criticisms aimed at the movie that Orsi recently revealed in a review that they incorporated into the film was that Kirk fell into the captain's chair too quickly,
mm,
and it's a point that Pike calls out in dialogue when confronting Kirk about the volcano mission.
right.
And it's almost like, okay, you've just given this guy the flagship after Earth was targeted by a space drill from a Romulan from the future. Vulcan has died. Vulcan is gone. And he's lying on reports
Yeah,
that your savior is being a dick.
yeah,
You don't bump him down to commander. You kick him off your fucking everything.
yeah, yep,
I just feel emotionally true. That's what I know that what the argument is. Well, you can't kick him out. He's the lead of the movie. Blah blah blah. But you could follow that through a little truer.
yeah.
You know, you know, Pike dared Kirk to do something better than his father could,
Well,
and
here's the
he did. Kirk saved the Earth, and he does it again.
the thing is, this Kirk doesn't. This is why it doesn't seem like Kirk, because I don't think Kirk was a. I don't think the young Kirk from the original universe is a liar and a cheater like this, though.
No, he's
Like I,
not.
so that impulse just doesn't ring true at all, that he would lie on the report.
I mean, Kirk may be many things, but he's not a bullshitter. And there's a deleted scene. I was reading an interview with Simon Pegg where Bones and Scotty overhear Kirk's recording his captain's log about the volcano planet incident, lying about it. They overhear him fudging the facts,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's
and
like,
they're playing it for comedy
yeah,
to a degree, but it does that's not the point. It doesn't fit with the character.
it
Um,
doesn't fit. And so, so Pike immediately spells out all the themes and lessons of the movie that Kirk has to learn
yeah,
before bumping him down to commander.
yeah,
And while that scene is heavy in the telling department, it has so much heart. I was really excited to see Pike and Kirk go at it, and their little quiet beat at the bar, calling back to when they first met, was
mm,
also nice.
yeah,
I have no idea why Kirk and Spock are called into an emergency Starfleet headquarters meeting to discuss the terrorist attack done by John Harrison. Other than, well, they need to be there.
right.
And
You could argue away that they're the first officers, these new, they've been assigned first officers to these ships, but yeah, it doesn't quite make sense. But I mean, that's kind of, we're quibbling over things that doesn't necessarily affect the quality of the
No,
film. Um,
but
I mean,
here's the,
there's a million instances like that when eventually they do weigh heavily on things. Um, but in the here and now, when you're watching the film, it's kind of like this that why are they there, and then you just go with it because it's a movie, and it's like, well, yeah,
right.
they have to be there. Um,
And now I'd like to talk about Section 31's involvement slash John Harrison
yeah,
slash Admiral Marcus, because I got a little muddy for me, and I don't know if it's because the movie moves too fast or I'm just too slow to keep up. But so Section 31 is involved. They are working on top secret, WMD type shit,
hmm
industrial military complex type shit, in the basement of a Kelvin library or a hall or like a memorial library devoted to the Kelvin,
yeah,
which was a nice little touch.
hmm
And it's this subterranean industrial warfare complex that John Harrison wants to infiltrate. So he finds an employee, a Section 31 employee whose daughter is dying from what looks like the deadly years disease, and promises him a cure.
Do you think that's intentional?
I hope so. I mean, there's a lot of nods to Trek canon in this,
Yeah,
which I feel like the that's what comes when your movie was a big hit. You can do whatever the fuck you want in that regard. And I like the little nods, like the ship that they have is Mud ship. I would have liked to have seen Harry Mudd in this universe,
yeah.
outside of the comic book. Um, that would have been fun. I love the nod. I got a big nerd boner when they said Section 31, because it made me think of a better thing, Deep Space Nine. I got a big nerd boner on the models of the Phoenix and the Kelvin and the NX-01
Yeah,
on Marcus's desk.
yeah.
The first of their kind, stopping on a model of a ship we'll come to know as the Vengeance. Why does no one go, hey, what is that?
I didn't notice. Is the Vengeance
The
in his
Vengeance is
office?
on the Admiral's desk, the
The
corrupt
top
Admiral's
secret,
desk.
the top secret project.
Yeah. Oh my God. I know I'm sounding like that fan, but really? That'd be like Palpatine entertaining guests and having various stage models of the Death Star.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
How come? And it's the shot tracks along those models for a reason.
Yeah.
Anyway, backing up a bit. So John Harrison, aka Khan, uses his blood to cure this little girl of her disease in exchange for this Section 31 employee suicide bombing the hell out of Section 31.
Right. Why did he have to? That bomb seemed pretty powerful. And he was standing across the street from the place when it blew up. Why couldn't he have just stood outside
Yeah,
and activated the
yeah,
bomb? Why did it have to do that whole? I mean, it's a nice little sequence involving the Starfleet guy who goes on a
very nice.
suicide mission, and but it doesn't really make sense why he had to go to those lengths.
Especially when it's come to reveal. Now, this is the part I'm confused on. What Khan has been found in space by Admiral Marcus because after the Nero threat, Admiral Marcus started banging the war drums. They're all going to start coming out of the woodwork now. Earth's got a bullseye painted on it.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying, I feel, is much more articulated and dramatically satisfying than how it's exchanged in the film. You know what I mean?
hmm
Like, because Marcus has no justification for why he thinks the next people coming are the Klingons, other than the Klingons are bad. You
Right.
have to go to
Yeah.
war with them. So Marcus, for some reason, wants to go to war with the Klingons. I'm not sure why exactly. Maybe to fight them before they come and attack us. I don't know.
Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah. I
It's
mean,
a
they
little.
talk about the Klingons being a big threat, but yeah, it's not.
Well, they're definitely going to be coming after us now, asshole.
Yeah. Well, or so you would think, though they're never mentioned again.
Yeah,
Like you would.
no one seems to care that they killed what 10 to 20, like a covert Starfleet officer, 10 to 20 Klingon warriors.
Yeah.
You kill one, they're coming after you. You that's a lot of houses that aren't getting their sons back. And the Klingons don't take too kindly to that shit.
Well, also, why? I mean, it's sort of nitpicky, but why did Harrison go there anyway? Was there a reason? I mean,
Why? Yeah. Why?
the
Why is he? Why? Why
the
is
mo-
he? Yeah.
the, the movie's very. I've only seen it
He
the one
goes there
time
because they want us to go on. They
because
want
what?
us to go because the filmmakers in the movie wants us to go to Cross.
Yeah, that's kind of
I'm
what
not
it.
sure why he beamed all the. Let me back up. Again, I'm doing that thing. My brain's going faster. So, all right. So Marcus finds Khan presumably floating in space in the Botany Bay and thaws his ass out and says, "You're going to make weapons of mass destruction
Yeah,
for me. You're going to help me design X, Y, and Z."
yeah. The concept. I mean, the concept is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that kernel of an idea.
No, but what's
If you're
wrong?
gonna if you're gonna bring Khan back, which obviously they decided they were gonna do some time ago, at least they were gonna, the idea there was to do something different with him,
Right,
right? But
right. But they didn't do anything really different with him.
right,
Well, they didn't do anything effectively different with him. It's
he
just it's just kind of so
well,
they thaw him out and say, "You're going to do this, or we're going to kill all your people." So he does it. My question for you, Scott, please help me understand. What is Khan doing
I guess
while that's? I mean, what if he was working for Section 31 making shit? Why didn't he blow it up himself?
right.
I mean, I did. I'm not gonna lie. My brain kind of tuned out a bit during the exposition, almost directly into camera that he gives while in the brig.
Yeah, well, everyone gives
I was
exposition
trying. Everyone
directly
gives
to the
exposition.
camera.
I was trying to focus really, really hard, but ADD kicked in, and that's my fault as a viewer. But I just, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So what is he doing, Scott?
s- I I don't fucking know.
Did he like break off? Like,
He
did he break off? He was like, "I had enough of this. I'm gonna attack you guys."
Yeah, I think so. And he thought that he thought that he thought his people were all killed, right? I believe.
I think so.
So he was getting revenge for that. So he was motivated by revenge, which, is a Khanism. The original Khan was also motivated by revenge. But it doesn't quite add up. No, so much of it doesn't quite add up. Why did he? And I'd need to see it again to remember the specifics of why he thought that.
Yeah,
But
me too.
um, the thing is, I mean, we're getting bogged down here in the little details, but bigger picture. We're calling him Khan, but I never really once felt that this was Khan.
No.
It, and yeah, of course, you're not gonna cast a Ricardo Montalban clone or anything. You want a new take on the character, new performance. But this guy doesn't seem like Khan at all. And Benedict Cumberbatch, as great as he doesn't get all that much to do.
Yeah,
That's
I feel like
interesting.
he's wasted.
And when he's playing opposite Pine, and even though he's wasted, when he's playing opposite Pine, he really, I mean, he really overshadows Pine.
Yeah, he really puts a mirror to him that
Right.
says, "Yeah,
There's nothing serious or substantial going on with the Pine performance. Like you said, when they're in the airlock together, they're gonna go off on that space jump, and it's like, he's standing next to this guy who's like this, genocidal maniac, and and Kirk is just, making quips and dropping one-liners, and it's like, where's the gravity of the situation? It doesn't I don't know. It really does. Kirk does not come across at all as an equal to Khan, or someone who would
No.
even have a chance against him. Having said that, at that point in the movie, I was still kind of willing to go with it, and I was starting to think, oh, so maybe Khan and Kirk are actually going to work together here for the greater good, and maybe we really are going to get a new spin on Khan. Like, maybe Khan, because if you go back to Khan in Space Seed, him and Kirk do in the end
Make amends. Sort of
make amends, and they kind of agree
disagree.
to they agree to disagree,
Sure.
and Khan gets what he wants and Kirk gets what he wants. And I was thinking, well, this is, so this is interesting. Admiral Marcus is actually the bad guy. It is Khan, but Khan is going to work with Kirk. Wow, this could be cool. But no, I mean, they work together for a bit, and then it just becomes Khan
And
being a very kind of, one-dimensional bad guy.
yeah, and
Right.
I mean, Cumberbatch is an amazing actor, and he classes up the movie with a conviction in his performance that I feel that the character lacks enough to warrant. I
Yeah.
feel like there's more going on behind Cumberbatch's eyes than there are on the page.
Yeah.
And Khan, for me, only becomes a really scary threat when they're on the bridge of the Vengeance.
Yeah.
I I got fucking giddy seeing the balls in that movie, stomping down on Carol Marcus's leg, skull crushing Marcus, Admiral Marcus, and saying that great line, "You should have left me sleep."
But the Skull
Fucking
Crush
great.
reads to me like the Skull Crush reads to me just like, again, them riffing on something we've seen before. It just felt to me like Roy Batty. It just seemed like it was totally
It is a
homage
little
to
Roy
Roy
Batty.
Batty,
Yeah,
and
fuck, I just caught that.
it's like we were saying, this movie, but the third act, it becomes, it's like, it's not a Star Trek movie, it's Star Trek internet meme, right? It's Star Trek GIF central, like,
They do the whole sh- ship out of danger,
right, that, and then they do Spock. Spock gets to be the one who yells Khan
which
this
is
time.
terrible,
It's so laughable.
so
Um,
laughable.
and the radiation chamber. So
It's
Kirk dies instead of Spock.
There's this
I mean,
cool beat though. I mean, I did get excited mostly because it was calling back to the movie I love when Spock gets the call in the comm from Scotty. It says, "Spock, you better get down here. Better hurry."
yeah, that's right.
And
Yeah,
instead of, I mean, McCoy gives it in Wrath of Khan, but it was great.
but it's, but they're just playing to our affection for Star Trek, the Wrath of Khan, and it's like you can get sucked up into those moments a little bit, but ultimately, what is this movie? It's just so hollow in the end.
Right.
They're just riffing on these things that they know have sort of pop cultural resonance, and there's nothing substantial in and of itself. There's nothing to this movie beyond riffs on stuff we've seen before, really, right?
Well, I
So,
think, see, the riffs bothered me less than they seem to have bothered you, and that's okay. I mean, I understand. I think they could have gotten away with them better, maybe, if that's even the right phrase, had there been the heart and substance of the drama backing it.
hmm,
I mean, say what you I people who say, if Devin Faraci in the review, which I don't quite agree with in regards to Star Trek 2009, is that if you watch it, it falls apart rapidly. It falls apart really easy when you start to pick at it.
right,
But the momentum and the style and the fun and the heart, moving from sequence to sequence, set piece to set piece, doesn't put so much attention on that.
right,
And I don't know how much that movie falls apart for me. Like, I've seen it so many times. I just saw it again on the big screen last week, and I mean, my issue with that is I don't buy Spock showing up late to stop the supernova.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't understand why Nero just hangs out for 30 years waiting for Spock.
Yeah, there are
Uh,
some inconsistencies, but you're more there's some other stuff I could probably come up with, but
sure,
you're more willing to go with it because the picture comes together
right.
in a more satisfying way.
And but this movie, man, it's not a good sign when you walk out of a movie asking yourselves when you're doing these sort of things, when you're peeling away the onion and you won't stop until every little fleck of that layer is gone, because that says that what the layers are wrapped around is faulty. The foundation did not hold,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that interfered with your fun because your attention was being drawn away from the characters and the stakes to the support structure of the
Yeah.
script.
Yeah.
And I,
You know,
I
I mean, there's so many elements to it that don't.
so it
Why is Carol Marcus in this movie? She
waits.
doesn't really
Her
do anything.
introduction is so fucking confusing. She's
The what?
on. I'm reassigned here. I moved here. I'm Carol Wallace. Blah, blah, blah. And then Spock does the investigating and determines that she's Admiral Marcus's daughter. Why did she go on there? What
Yeah.
for seemingly she has no narrative function to be there other than, hey, there's Carol Marcus.
Yeah.
Other than to have her eventually tell her dad when he comes on the Vengeance to take out Enterprise.
Yeah.
Because they didn't cover up Admiral Marcus's mess. Other than to tell him, Dad, the father who raised me would not do this.
Yeah.
I just, she's an expert on those torpedoes, but she's not an expert on those torpedoes. We should back up a bit, maybe. Okay, so sorry guys, this is a little disjointed, but just bear with us. So torpedoes are involved. This new torpedo.
Yeah.
Khan attacks Earth. Pike is killed. Kirk wants to go out for revenge. Marcus gives him the go-ahead. Take the Enterprise and take Spock with you. But take these new weapons. We've tracked him. He's transwarp beamed to Kronos using Scotty's transwarp beaming equation, in this portable little unit. We can beam from planets now.
Yeah. It doesn't matter because none of
We
the
don't
tech.
starships anymore.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter because none of the tech
It's consistent.
has any meaning. Yeah, it doesn't have any meaning in this world. It's not like in real Star Trek where the stuff as whimsical and fantastic as some of the stuff could be, there was a consistency to it.
Right.
There's not. I don't sense that there's any consistency to this.
The only consistency is that it's conveniently inconvenient when they need it to be.
Yeah. Right. And it's there when they need it to be there.
Right.
So I mean, it's the same thing with Khan's blood. Like, Khan's blood is used to revive Kirk, right? So
let's go there. Let's go there, Scott.
yeah. So Kirk dies,
So Kirk
right?
dies. The reverse.
Which has no resonance. It has no suspense. There's no real dramatic consequence to it because they so blatantly telegraph to you the thing with the tribble that McCoy is testing the blood on the tribble, right?
Mhm.
So
And
now, of course,
I'm ahead of the movie.
yeah,
that-
you're ahead of it,
That's
you know,
a plant, and I know where it's going to pay off.
right? And of course, it's really even set up earlier with the thing with the dying kid and everything.
Right.
But at this point you think, well, you're 2 hours into the movie, you're not necessarily thinking about that. But with the thing with the tribble, it's just put right there, and it totally takes everything out of what follows with Kirk dying, and because he's coming back in 10 minutes.
It's akin to Data dying in Nemesis.
Yeah, exactly. The B4 thing is all just set up there to bring Data back, and so there's just no resonance to it at all.
No.
And then there's also the illogic of it, which, as you pointed out, there's 72 canisters of genetically engineered Supermen on the ship that they could have used. Why do they have to chase Khan down?
This is the plan. Marcus says, take these torpedoes, 72 of them. Find Khan on Kronos and light the bastard up. Now, I'm
Right.
not sure if Kirk is supposed to unload all 72 torpedoes on one man on the
Yeah.
Klingon homeworld or just one. Regardless, inside each of these torpedoes are the augments,
Yeah.
Khan's Supermen,
Right. Yeah.
that the Admiral's put in to cover his tracks. So the orders are shoot, don't ask any questions, come back home. Kirk, fuck it, I'm going to apprehend him, I'm going to bring him to justice.
Right.
That wrinkles the Admiral's fucking plan. So the Admiral goes out with his new big black vengeance ship, his evil starship. The Admiral himself, the head of Starfleet, leads a mission to cover up his tracks. The most important lesson about doing something bad is you have someone else do it for you. The Admiral did
Yeah.
not learn that.
It doesn't make any sense that he would go out.
Other than, well, we got Peter Weller in our movie.
Yeah, we got to do it.
Um,
And
so Scott, I'm confused. I don't, maybe it's in the movie. Is Kirk supposed to fire all those torpedoes on Khan and eliminate all the evidence and then spark a war with the Klingon Empire? The Enterprise gets destroyed and Marcus is, his hands are clean to a
I
degree?
get, yeah, I guess so. It's not clear though.
Or is he supposed to just fire a few torpedoes, one, three, four, kill Khan, come back, and but the Klingons take him out?
No, I don't know. I'm not sure that Kirk or Marcus even know.
Because here's the thing: Kirk has defied the odds to the point where you are going into a very Dick Cheney place, Admiral Marcus, with your warmongering.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I mean, it's Roberto Orci
He's a
who wrote,
truer,
one
right?
of the writers. He's a truther, right?
Yeah, he's a truther, right?
Yeah. So that's, he thinks 9/11 was a setup.
Yeah,
So
that's an interesting awesomeness.
yeah. So he's he's got the truther thing going, which it's sort of I guess this is their attempt to do an analogy for real world events, which is like, of course the Star Trek thing has always been
Sure.
about metaphors for, but it's like this is a metaphor for something that's not really going on in our world though. I mean, unless you believe that 9/11 was a fix. So I feel like they missed they missed the mark on that one as
It's
well.
also it's a little convoluted because I mean, so Khan, he was sent out into space, same story, right? From Space Seed, only instead of bumping into the Enterprise crew, Marcus was like, you know what? Let's go out into space and see if we can find those people we cast out 300 years ago because they wanted to kill everyone. Let me try to put that
Right.
guy on a leash.
Right.
I,
Yeah.
I don't. Marcus does seem like a desperate man at times, but is he stupid?
Yeah.
Like I,
No, I mean you wouldn't.
so he grabs him and says, "Look, you're gonna go build me some weapons. I'm gonna enslave you to build me some weapons and a new ship so I can go fight the Klingons."
Right.
And
Yeah.
Khan does it because he's holding
Yeah.
his people hostage. You know what? I gotta call shenanigans on that because
Yeah.
I don't buy Khan being anyone's bitch. And
Yeah.
also, this is, I mean, you could argue this is nitpicky had the filmmakers not been very clear on where their new timeline starts and stops. Since Khan did his whole eugenics wars thing before the events of the Kelvin in 2009 Trek,
Hmm.
that means Khan is still Ricardo Montalban. He's still Latin. And
Well, yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
There's just no
it's
explanation
just,
at all
I
for
think it's
that.
because,
Right.
well, we could get Benedict Cumberbatch, but we lost Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, it's basically
And I
what it
would not
is.
have wanted
Yeah.
to see
No,
Benicio del Toro's Khan.
you can't blame Del Toro
For checking
for cutting
out?
out though,
No.
right?
Not,
Yeah. The other thing is, it's like, so it's 300 years in the future. Like, we really need, I mean, I know Khan's a genetic Superman and all, but we really need him designs our
Yeah,
weapons and starships. Like,
where's Starfleet? Section
yeah,
31 is this elite top secret everything. And us fans know Section 31 to be able to do that shit. I mean, after all, in a few hundred years, or in 100 years, um, they're going to create the disease that poisons shapeshifters. I'm pretty sure they can figure out Scotty's transwarp beaming thing.
yeah, yeah.
It's just
So
God.
why don't we? I'm sorry. Why don't we? Because this is such an oppressively um, negative and depressing
Talk about this
podcast.
light.
Um, and I think a lot of people are going to like the movie. I mean, I've been surprised by the reaction of I have a friend who is a big sci-fi fan and geek, and usually him and I are pretty in tune on things like this. And he actually hated the Abrams movie, the 2009 movie, and he really liked this one. So you and I might be in the sort of vocal
Yeah,
minority here.
maybe,
I mean, I
man.
know there are, but why don't we just real quick, and we can't this this probably this movie probably deserves multiple podcasts. I don't know, but we
That
can't
thought
go
had
on
occurred to
forever.
me.
But why don't we why don't, yeah, maybe next week we'll come back to it again. But why don't we quickly just name a couple of things we did like about it, because there are things that we like about this movie as well, right?
There are things we like about it. Not one of them is the fact that if you can beam Spock out of the volcano, why can't you beam him into it? Sorry, and I've
Okay, that's
seen it twice
not one of them.
now, and I saw it with a crowd. They do not explain that.
Yeah, it
Doesn't make
doesn't make
sense.
sense. Yeah.
No,
How about Scotty? Did you like
no.
Scotty in this movie?
I know. You know what? I really enjoyed. Uh, which it was interesting, like what the crowd reacted to enthusiastically toward this time than my first experience watching the movie. I liked how he took out the guy in the airlock. Getting Kirk and Khan inside and shooting that guy out. Watching
Mm.
the second time, it's like, wow, these guys are talking a whole lot, and this guy with a phaser who's on a ship that's doing something really bad
Yeah.
spends a lot of time, getting information from Scotty. It's
Right. Yeah.
and that guy
Yeah.
doesn't strike me as an ask questions first type when he's holding that gun.
Yeah. 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 It's the henchman, the
Yeah,
dumb henchman syndrome,
uh,
right?
I, I
Um.
love that sequence. That sequence of them jumping out of the ship, Kirk getting off course, his face cracking, the tension there, Khan fucking cartwheeling into space after he hits that thing of debris. It's really well done. That is a great sequence.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you felt this way, but I feel like the movie kind of sort of that's their version of the space dive onto the drill from 2009. And I feel
Yeah.
like this movie does
Sure.
echo a lot of beats from the 2009 Trek in structure at least,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah. Sure.
annoying.
What about? Well, yeah. I mean, so they're echoing Wrath of Khan, and they're echoing
Right.
2009 Trek. Well, what about Spock Uhura? Because I still like that dynamic, and um, I like Uhura. I mean, she's so much more interesting than the original version ever was. Did did you think that they got that relationship right in this movie?
I think in so much to say that the stuff that they wanted to attempt with it, they did the best they could in this movie. I felt like the first film uh, did a better handling of their relationship, and this one gave it the bare minimum of time that it could in terms of addressing the romantic issues with them. Because she's right. Like Spock, it comes off that he doesn't care what happens to her if anything happens to him.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I I liked Spock's speech, his little speech, but the brakes on the movie squeal to a halt. because we have it's just a telling moment, and it's literally telling as opposed to showing how these two feel about each other in a way that the 2009 Trek did with that turbo lift scene, which is amazing.
Mm. Yeah.
And I mean, that's such
Mm.
a in terms of showing not less is more. That's such a beautiful beat. And I
Yeah.
know that you have to have Spock talk about his feelings at some point. You have to have Spock engage her in some level verbally, and you can't do it with any less words than he did. But I don't know. It just felt for me like we're invading Kronos, black on black ops here, and it's just, oh, by the way, I'm going to be unprofessional, and I'm going to throw this little zing because there's no all you have are the kids. There's no babysitter on that ship. Kirk.
Yeah.
I The problem with these movies for me is that Kirk is, he was the quarterback. You know, he's Judd Nelson and Emilio Estevez from Breakfast Club combined. And I it's hard to have that I'm the captain, you're the crew relationship when
Yeah.
this guy was bumping elbows with you in whatever class.
Yeah.
Like I just it's like Degrassi track, and I
He
just
used to give Spock wedgies,
used to
right?
get his quickies. I just yeah, I need to see a more clear delineation between captain and crew.
Yeah.
And I think that could only help the drama in so much of Kirk's arc is going to be, okay, now I've earned the chair. How do I use it? How
Right.
do I
Yeah.
be captain? Can he acknowledge that he is a little too familial with this crew? How do you keep that balance? Because Kirk wasn't buddy buddy with Uhura and Chekhov and Sulu.
No.
His core was
Definitely
McCoy and
not Sulu.
Spock. Yeah, definitely not Sulu.
Yeah.
Speaking of Sulu, thing I did like, I liked him in the captain's chair. I love the allusion to Star Trek Six,
Yeah.
and I liked his little speech. If you test me, you will fail.
Yeah. He
That
gets
was
a
that
he
was
gets a little bit
cool.
he gets a little bit more to do than Chekhov, right?
Yeah. Oh fuck, Chekhov.
I don't even think they brought Chekhov on the press rounds for this one. I don't think they even bothered bringing him to the junket.
Wow.
Um, Now, old Spock. I mean, I thought Spock Prime in the first movie was really unnecessary, and he's really unnecessary in this one. I think. Do you agree? You don't agree, do you?
I you know I yeah I'm neither like on either side of that. I'm not like greatly offended that he's there or completely in love with. I did feel a big swell of nerd power when he did show up on screen. Like,
Let me ask you. So, is this what new universe Spock and the crew are going to do from now on? Is this what the entire whole of Starfleet is going to do from now on? Whenever
call
there's a
old Spock.
problem, they're going to call old Spock and ask him what he did. Was there a similar situation in his timeline, and how did he beat it? I mean, it's completely self-defeating,
A little bit,
right?
a little bit. I didn't think of it like that. That's accurate.
How about this? You mentioned this earlier. Um, that we have discovered immortality in this universe now.
Yeah, that's I to have no one acknowledge either that con blood can cure death, it can cure dying, as evidenced by the little girl.
Hmm.
Uh,
And it can revive the
it can
dead.
revive the dead, but as Bones says, "Oh, relax, you were just barely dead." To Kirk, I don't know what barely dead means.
Hmm. Technically, Kirk's a zombie now.
Technically, he's Lazarus. Um,
Hmm.
I just I feel like it's irresponsible to introduce that element from people who have shown me in their past collaborations and in their individual work that they're fairly intelligent
Hmm.
when it comes to awareness of stakes and things that they're introducing. I mean, they call it right out in kind of ballsy way in 2009 that this is an alternate reality.
Hmm.
That just to posit that aloud and say, "Yep, we're sticking by this." That's kind of cool. But that opportunity does not exist here for anyone to speak of. Hey, not only did I just walk away from death, literally walk away from it. What does that mean to me as someone who was accused of just lucking out in any success I've had in terms of people living and dying? Not only do they forget that, they ignore that. Yeah, the 23rd century death. Fuck off. I don't need bones anymore. I don't need sick bays on my ship.
Hmm.
We don't even need medical people.
Well, as you said earlier, you don't need a ship
We
either
don't need a
because
ship because we can
you have
beam.
yeah.
And apparently communicators now can call from Kronos or nearer to Kronos back to a bar on Earth. Fuck that. And it's just
This is so we keep getting into details here which people are going to people who like the movie are going to respond and say, well, it's just a movie, and what does that matter? But I think really the stuff that is that the real negatives we had about the movie are story and character stuff, like
yeah.
ultimately the end of the movie, as you pointed out earlier to me, Kirk strides onto the bridge. He has beaten death because of this con blood thing. I don't feel that he's learned any lessons from this. He didn't learn the lesson that he was supposed to learn. He's the same cocky asshole, and there's no reason to not do again what he's been doing in this
I
movie.
agree. I was just telling my father last night the thing that gets me up in arms is the movie starts off with Pike literally telling Kirk what all his problems are and all the themes he has to master. And one of them is, he has no respect for the chair, the rules, life and death stakes. So how do you benefit a hero dealing with that who's just kind of pissing in death's face whenever he sits down in that chair? How does your hero benefit from literally striding away from death with a cocky smile on his face?
Yeah,
That doesn't teach him a lesson. It
yeah,
emboldens him to never actively have to learn one. If
yeah.
anything, his crew is in more danger. Because Kirk's a god. That
Yep.
doesn't matter. We'll just con blood.
Right.
No,
Oh,
no, no.
Chekhov. Sorry about the
He's like,
sorry about that mortal injury, Chekhov, but we can't spare any con blood on you.
yeah,
You're a junior officer.
because something might happen to Spock or Uhura, and Uhura's got a nice ass. And I kind of gave half of it to that bald guy with the CPU core in the back of his head,
Lobot.
Lobot, because I don't know, man. I just think that guy's gonna be fucked up in the future. I just want him to be okay. No, fuck that movie. Fuck that move. It's irresponsible filmmaking to introduce that and to hype up an impending Klingon war without anyone acknowledging that it's coming.
Yeah.
What would have been great is this movie's version of the escalation scene between Batman and Gordon on the rooftop in Batman Begins.
Yeah.
Because that movie, I mean, Batman Begins would have been a good movie, but it became really good with that scene. Because
Hmm.
at that point, for me, I had never seen a genre film in that space acknowledge the stakes and the events of the movie that have come before in that way, and the repercussions that are about to come in a sequel.
Yeah.
Never seen that discussed before
Yeah.
on those terms, and it's so beautiful because we know what's coming. Dramatic irony benefits the enjoyment of that scene, and
Well,
you know,
I mean, there are no repercussions, right? In this Star Trek
don't seem to
world.
be. No one, no one. The only repercussion is apparently a year later they get around to burying Pike
It
or
was a
having a
year
funeral
later.
for Pike.
It was a year later, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
because the Enterprise has been rechristened. They've rebuilt Starfleet apparently,
Hmm.
and they finally got around to burying Pike or having some sort of service for him. I don't know what.
I think it was a service. I think it was a service for everyone who had been lost in that conflict. Actually, I don't think it was just for Pike.
Okay, because they did that broken wing, that lost man
Hmm.
formation with the ships flying
Yeah,
overhead.
maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, no, you're right. It is for those who lost their lives that day, and for Chris Pike, I believe.
Yeah.
But it feels like it takes place a couple of hours or a day after the main events of the movie. You know,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and there's something off the audio, the actual audio of Pine's little speech is off. It feels like they ADR'd it. And if you watch that scene, a lot of shots like are people covering his mouth.
Oh, really?
Yeah, especially how that scene ends before he starts reciting "Space: The Final Frontier."
You think they rewrote it?
I think they did. I think they did
Hmm.
because the backs of cadets' heads are facing us when he's at that podium for that last shot.
Did they CGI in the silhouette figures from Eyes Wide
They
Shut
should have.
in front of?
They should have CG'd in all the fucking from that movie. No, it's just I'm not sure if I'm supposed to believe that Space: The Final Frontier is a captain's oath because it segues. It's unclear,
Doesn't make sense. He talks about a 5-year mission,
but
so every captain takes an oath about a 5-year
before
mission.
they even have one.
It doesn't make
Well,
fucking any
remember,
fucking
this
sense.
is the first time a 5-year mission has been bestowed upon a crew. So if Pike gave that to him the first time, uh, he gave him the Enterprise. Why would Pike tell him about a 5-year mission if they haven't been invented yet?
Right.
Why would
It
that be
doesn't make
included in
sense.
the oath? And it's not an oath. There's no oath. Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of insert ship here. Our mission is to do that.
Right.
What? No. I, unless I interpret it as one of two things. That is the oath, or he dots before giving the oath, like he trails off, and then Space, the final frontier just starts. That second part, while it may not make 100% sense, it's the one I want to be because the first one is just too fucking offensive. It's just stupid. I, I mean, if the discussion of the impending Klingon war that's coming happened in that gap, in that year gap, if the whole, hey, how you doing, Jim? You know, having just died and come back. If that
Uh-huh.
all stuff happened off screen, fine. It needs to have happened on screen for this viewer to give a shit.
Right. Yeah.
And I am in the minority. A lot of people applauded last night at the fan sneak.
Mm.
A lot of people liked the movie.
Yeah.
They cheered because it was a mob mentality slash cool gathering when Spock yells "Khan," and my dad
They
rolled
they
his
cheered
eyes.
that. They cheered that
They
line.
cheered that line.
It's awful.
My dad rolled his
Well, it's
eyes, and
the
so did
fan.
I.
What's that?
My dad rolled his eyes at that and said, "Oh, that's
Yeah.
too much."
So, well, I don't know. We're gonna have to wrap this up for now, but I think I ultimately I came away with the feeling that this movie was not made for me.
It
You
wasn't
know,
made for people who like consistently good things.
yeah.
Oh, hey Scott, I think I'm gonna go drop my ring into a thing of water and watch it fizzle. Oh, I
Right.
like that moment. That moment was really cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
And
Absolutely.
I love the match dissolve from the Enterprise cave drawing thing
Yeah.
to the thing in space. And I did see the people get sucked out at warp.
Yeah. See.
Holy
Okay.
shit! How
Yeah.
did I miss that the first time? It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. See. When was it? Is it when they come out of warp or they were in
It's
warp when it happens?
they're in warp.
Oh my God.
The
That's
Vengeance
terrible.
opens fire. And those people get sucked out and they get swept past the right nacelle of the Vengeance, and then Enterprise comes out of warp. It,
Right. Right.
it was awesome.
What an unfortunate fate. Well, you know what? That actually brings us to our very special red shirt of the week.
We take this time to remember those who have laid their lives down for Starfleet. This is the Red Shirt of the Week.
Ensign Hope and Ensign all of our dreams, because those are the ones that perished that day watching those movies. 4 years of hopes and dreams for something resembling good.
Yes, this is very special red shirts this week. Our hopes and our dreams are dead, and it leads to the bigger question: is Star Trek dead? Um, because I
You
feel
know,
like it is.
I
I feel like it is right now. I don't know.
that's I think let's ask ourselves that after we've mourned a bit more.
After after we've seen the movie 3 or 4 more times
Yeah.
that we hate.
I will say this. I am less excited for a third installment. I am less eager to give it my money right away. And this is
Yeah.
someone who saw Insurrection opening day, got out of school for it. This is someone who saw Nemesis opening day. Uh, uh, yeah, it's not. I don't think it's a terrible movie. It's just not a very good one.
It's just a generic. It's a generic summer, middle of the road, crowd pleasing. You know, by the numbers operation for the unwashed masses. And I expect more from Star Trek. I don't expect more from these guys who wrote this movie, or even from Abrams. So I'm not that surprised that this is my takeaway.
Right.
I think Abrams, if he had a good script, I think he could make a great movie, and that might happen with his Star Wars stuff, because Lindelof and Kurtzman and Orchie are not writing the Star Wars movie that he's making.
God, yeah.
Um,
Michael Arndt is a better writer than all of them combined,
yeah,
including Abrams. Uh,
so but so there you
yeah,
have it.
I think it feels like, I think it's like this, like it's 2009 engendered so much whatever in me and in others. That others were like, huh, some of the stuff in here is kind of fun. I like fun. I like fun from 2009. Okay, it's not that bad. Um, but if you were like me and you got wrapped up in some of the just the thought of seeing a Star Trek movie do something that no Star Trek movie had done before at that time, which was be big, that
Mm,
big and play around with the things like that. It really got into me. Like Star Trek 2009 is a movie I saw several times on the big screen. It's one that still makes me tear up a little bit during those first
yeah.
10 minutes.
Hmm.
I still feel like this roller coaster dip of awe in my stomach when they first reveal the Enterprise. And it just endeared so much in me that they just didn't pull it off for this
Yeah.
one. And the universe is set up in such a way where for the first time I don't like Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where he's going because he's too reckless for me to go there with him.
Yeah.
And I don't see a third film acknowledging the character stuff that's going on in Kirk after Survive. I think Scott's right. I think they're going to just gloss over the fact that they have con blood.
Yeah.
It'll be an ADR line during a walk and talk, or it'll be just something real quick in a massive wide two shot or something.
Yeah. Not even. I don't think.
You don't even think they're gonna give it any form of lip service. It's just gonna go.
No. No way. I
Scott's
doubt it
hopes
very much.
dreams died a worse death than mine.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Not even con blood can resurrect my hopes and dreams. Well, there's plenty more to talk about regarding this
Yeah,
film. So
maybe we should talk about biggest missed opportunities
yeah.
for next time.
Yeah.
But we definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about it. Please send us some emails. Tweet Scott, not me, because I'm never on it.
Yeah.
And definitely go to the
Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah. I'm at Scott IGN, and
And you can reach me on
Yeah.
my MySpace page. No, just
And if you
joking.
and
I
if
also
you
Friendster. Anybody? Anybody for Friendster? Anyone? Bueller? Never mind.
so we'll hopefully we'll still be um in a place where a safe place where we feel that we can talk about this movie some more next time around. I don't know if the mobs are going to be coming after us with pitchforks and torches
Well,
because of
it's
how we feel
fine
about
because if should they hurt us, I got some con blood.
it.
They
Right.
gave it away. They ran out of posters at the special sneaks, so they gave us con blood, a vial of con blood, and a tribble to arbitrarily test it on.
A zombie tribble.
Yeah.
Tribble.
By the way, when did Bones become Dr. Mengele?
Well, they had to give him something to do
Well, make
because he
it
wasn't
not
part.
that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna go tuck myself away
I'd
in
rather
my
have him
in my
perform. I'd rather have him perform a proctology exam, Lobot.
on Lobot.
Fine, Scott, be that way. And on that note, we'll see you all on Gervais Island.